Hello guys, let's talk about HTML character entities. Okay, some characters are reserved in HTML. For example, the less than or greater than signs or symbol are reserved in HTML because if you write them normally in an HTML element, the browser can mix them with a tag. Let's take the example. Like here we have our paragraph. Okay, if in here I say one is less than two, you see, the browser is going to mix this less than sign with, maybe a tag and all of that. Okay, so in order to avoid this confusion, that's why we are going to need to use HTML character entities. So when you are writing HTML character entities, it's important to know that there are two ways of doing that. So you can write your entity using the name of the entity, or you can use the number that will correspond to that entity. For example, if you want to display the less than sign, you will write like this, apparent LT, like this. So if you write this, it's going to display the less than sign. So let me increase, maybe I'm going to put that in this heading so that you have a better look. Yes, so now you have the less than sign here. Okay, if you want to display the same less than sign but using the number. So here we have used the entity name less than, but if you want to use the corresponding number, we are going to write that like this. We'll come here, apparent, sharp, and then 60. Yes, so now you can see you have less than sign. Okay, but if we want to display the greater than, that is going to be apparent GT like this. So if you write GT, yeah, you have the greater than sign showing here. If you want to use the number, instead here we've used the name, the entity name. If you want to use the entity number, that will be like this and 62. So now you have the greater than sign. Let me copy that, paste it here. So as for the less than sign, it was like this, and the greater than and all of that. If you want to display this apparent like this, okay, how would you do that? You come here, if you want the entity name, you want to display that using the entity name, you say apparent and amp like this. So it's going to display this. But if you want to use the number entity, the entity number, you will say like this, 38. Yeah, so that's how you have to do. What if you want to display double quotes, double quotation marks? You will simply come down here by using the entity name. You say apparent what like this. Yeah, you have your double quotes. If you want to use the number, the entity number instead, you can say number 34. Yeah, so for the apostrophe, let me do it like this. If we come down here, apostrophe, you will say post like this, it's going to display the apostrophe. Uh, Let me say semicolon. Yes, so you have to put semicolon as well. And if you want to display using the entity number, you will say 39 to display like this. What if you want to display like um, currency? If you say you want to display euros, if you use the entity name, so you say apparent and euro like this, and semicolon. Here you have your euro. If you want to display using the entity number, so you say number 8364. Yes, you have euro, the euro symbol showing. Okay, and as you can, I was saying, so make sure that you use the semicolon here for it to display properly. Like if you want the copy mark, another thing that you can talk about. So the copyright, so if you say copy like this, it will display. You need to remove this because you are using the entity name. So you say, yeah, so you have the copyright sign. If you want to still use the number, that will be number 169. Yeah, the same thing. If you want to display the trademark, okay, trademark, you simply come and say apparent reg here. There you have it. If you want to use the entity number, say number 174, and it will show like this. So that's how you actually write your entity characters. And all the characters that I have shown you here, some of them are reserved. For example, the double quotes, the greater than, the less than, the apostrophe. These are reserved characters. So you need to use these entities in order to display them on the screen. Another thing, character that I wanted to tell you is the non-breaking space. You see, the non-breaking space is this particular um, character that you have to write like this. So apparent non-breaking space. So now what's its use? Okay, a non-breaking space here, this particular character here, is actually a space that will not break into a new line. You know that if we do uh, BR like this, it breaks into a new line. But when you use this entity here, it's going to add space, but it will not break into a new line. So two words separated by a non-breaking space, this entity will stick together. They will not break into a new line. So this is very useful and handy when breaking words might be very disruptive. Let's say, for example, we have a paragraph here. Okay, let me just copy some text in my paragraph. So in the paragraph, if I add, let me come here, I add like here 10 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What will happen? The browser is going to remove 9 of the spaces that I have just added, but it will only take into account one space, even though here I have done 9 of them. Okay, but if we want our text to show exactly how it is written in the code here, we can use the non-breaking space entity here to do that. So now you will see if I copy this and add it here, now you see I have my space. If I add a second one, it will add. If I add the third one, see, it will add another space. So as many of these entities I'm going to add, the browser will still add space and all of that. So that's actually how you can add space. And as you can see, it is adding space, but it is not breaking into a new line. So it's really important to note that. Okay, so another common use of this non-breaking space is to prevent browsers from truncating spaces in HTML pages. All right, so these are some of the entities that you can keep in mind. There is a list of entities, okay, so you can go on the internet and have, the exhaustive list of these entities. So what you would need to do is to know if you have to choose whether you want to use the entity name to display them or you want to still use the entity number to do that. An advantage is that an entity name is easy to remember. Okay, like for example here, non-breaking space, so N here is like an abbreviation. If you want to display the less than sign, you simply come and LT, that is less than, it's an abbreviation of phrase less than, but it's kind of a little bit more complicated if you want to remember the entity number. It can become very difficult and confusing, but you can still have a list of these entity names and numbers on the internet that may help you. Okay, another thing that we can talk about is going to be the diacritical marks in HTML. So there are certain or special types of letters used in HTML which may have some accent, some glyph added to the top or below the letter. So these glyphs are called diacritical mark. Okay, and some diacritical marks, like the grave and the acute, are called accent. So if you speak French or you write French, for example, you have in French words that would have accents and all of that. And if you want to write that in HTML, you need to also know some of the entities in order to do that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So what we're going to do is let's just remove these lines of code. In French, for example, you can write this. The letter A with an accent, like a grave accent on it. How do you do that? So you write A like this, and as for the accent, you say apparent, and then you have the number 768 like this. So now you see you have the letter A with an accent on it. If you want to write the letter A with the acute accent, so this is a grave accent. If you want the acute accent, you simply say A, upper end, and then the number. We are going to change the number here. That will be 769. You have your A letter with the acute accent. So that's how you can display your diacritical marks on letters. Okay. There are lists on the internet that you can use as well in order to display these particular marks. Like here, we can say again, if you want to display another diacritical mark, that will be 770 as the number. You see. Um, let's take another example. A, for example, that would be 771, like this. So this is going to display like that. So if you change the letter at the beginning here, you will see, you know, the diacritical is going to appear on that particular letter. But this, like, okay, it's not how to do that. So the letter A, if you want the letter E, for example, in French, you can have these accents on this vowel E, for example, or you can do that on the letter O. Okay, if you say O like this, O, 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 and all of that. All right. So guys, that's it. I think we are going to stop here that for this video, and I have shown you how to display, the character entities, the less than sign, the greater than, the euro symbol, the copyright sign or symbol, trademark, and the diacritical mark, like the accent on letters, as we have done it here. Okay, and I simply hope that the video was informative enough, and feel free to write in the comment section if you have questions. If you still have questions, I'm going to be willing to answer your questions. And like, share this video, but also subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Let's meet in the next video.